What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to explain the exact mindset that I developed and the exact mindset that you need to develop to be extremely productive and successful within the gym. And I'm going to show you exactly how I built a 1% physique in less than 4 years without, doing anything crazy like tracking a shit ton of macros, following a serious workout program, because I didn't. I simply just did what I knew the best, and I learned along the way. So without further ado, let's hop into Loom, and I'm gonna explain everything you need to know to become the best version of yourself and develop a top 1% physique. All right, let's get straight into this little presentation that I got for today. So as you can see, I cooked up a slideshow, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what you guys need to be thinking in order to craft your dream body, or whatever you're trying to craft, right? So what I'm going to go over here is, as you can see, this is, let me move my camera here up here. So as you can see, obviously you can see the title, but this is me when I was about, 13. So as you can see, not a lot of muscle development. Let me move my fucking camera over here. There we go. I feel like I'm looking over, whatever. So this is me when I was 13, right? So as you can see, barely any muscle development, didn't work out, shit diet, ate ice cream every day. As you can see, that I'm flexing in the mirror, but there's not really anything happening there. So transitioning to this picture, this was when I was like 15 or so. And as you can see, there is a decent amount of ab development there, and just like overall not that much muscle anywhere else. But as you can see, the arms a little bit developed, but nothing. Like I said, nothing too crazy. But this is like probably 2 months into lifting at this point, because I'm probably like 15 in this picture, and I believe this picture was taken in 2021. So a decent amount of time ago now. But glad I started then than any time later, because I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. So this is the early stages. Obviously, was not really knowledgeable on the gym, not really knowledgeable on diets either. I just kind of ate, I honestly just ate what I wanted. But I stayed consistent within the little basement gym that I had going on there. So moving on to, this is like 2022, I want to say, end of 2022, like beginning of 2023. As you can see, chiseled to the bone. But that's really all I have really going for me, to be honest. Based on, because I'm hitting an abdominal pose, so it kind of takes away from a lot of the muscle that I might have. So as you can see, the chest looks pretty small, but the chest was probably pretty developed at this point, as well as the arms have a lot more muscle than in this picture, because they're a year and a half apart. So was able to put on a decent amount of size in between these two, but transitioning from all three of these to this one. So this was taken around like February of this year. So February 2025, I truly just underwent like a crazy transformation, right? So as you can see, I was extremely lean in this picture, right? So I took and the whole reason I took this picture is because the LA Fitness lighting is just insane. So, and it really like brings out my physique. So as you can see, my chest is extremely striated, arms extremely, leaned out. Forearm development is ridiculous. Chest development is ridiculous. But this, from this, is quite a big change, right? Obviously, it was a lot of years in between, but a lot of people think that like, achieving something like this from a starting point like this, or mainly like a starting point like this, isn't possible, right? And they're like, oh, but I don't want to consume that much protein. Like, I don't want to get big like that. Listen, if anybody tells you that, oh, it's difficult to get that big in that short amount of time. It's hard. That's why I would never do it, because it's hard. Listen, I'm not here to tell you that it's easy, but it's definitely not the most impossible thing in the world. This version of me right here knew that he wanted to become this version of me. So that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what I did. So let me move on to the next slide because I'm going to explain more in depth of what it actually takes, because it's not just lifting weights, and it's not just dieting, right? And it's not just it's not just the basic easy shit that everybody says. What it really takes is the mindset and the development that you're going to have to go through to achieve the body of your dreams, right? So as you can see, this is me in 2021. This is on the same day as this picture here. Okay, so same day, same looking physique. As you can see, there's just like almost like no development. I just look like a pasty white kid. So I developed the one and two states. I wouldn't say that I'm the first person to think of this philosophy, but I want to say that I was the first person that I have ever known that you know thought of it in this way, right? So let me explain what I think and my perspective of the one and two states. And also, I've never heard of anybody call it this, but the way I am explaining it, you've definitely heard the philosophy before, but I don't think it's ever called the one and two states. I just kind of thought of that. So, what are the one and two states, right? So, the first state, the number one state, is understanding the current state of you. So, what do you look like right now? Like, what is your current body weight? What does your current morning routine look like? Like, are you waking up early? Are you waking up late? Like, what does your kind of routine look like? When do you wake up? Like, what time do you wake up? Like, what exact time do you like want to get up? Like, something like that. And like, what are you eating on a daily basis? Is it healthy foods? Is it bullshit? Are you eating fucking McDonald's, like Wendy's? Are you on your dirty bulking phase where you eat Wendy's every day? But that's not good. It's not good. But what kind of content are you consuming? This is, if not the most important, the most, I think, the most important thing. I stumbled over my words a little bit, but this is probably the most important thing, in my opinion, when it comes to mindset, because you can eat all the proper things you want, lift all the proper weight you want, but in my opinion, without consuming the right content, you're not going to get to where you want to be. See, I wouldn't be anyone if I didn't have C-Bomb to look up to, right? I would be no one if I had like people like Lex Little to look up to. Because at this state of mine, this version of me looked up to, someone like Lex or someone like C-Bomb as someone who already had my dream desired self, someone who would already achieve that. So without those kind of people that was, in a sense, motivating me and influencing me along the way, I don't know who I'd be. I truly don't know who I'd be. So what you want to stay away from, though, is just the pure brain rot content, right? And what I mean by this is, honestly, it's not just like brain rot that you see on TikTok that you genuinely like get dumber from. I mean brain rot in a sense of like the science based like lifting, like strapping your bicep to the machine and like doing, I don't know, like doing like the most ridiculous workout that I've ever seen, right? And this is the kind of stuff that, I want you guys to stay away from, because it's truly so toxic in the fitness space, because I feel like in so many people now can just get away with whatever. And, the person, like the 14-year-old that's just working out, is going to see that video and be genuinely convinced that that works, because that's the first time he's seeing it. And, it's got like 1 million views, but it doesn't have 1 million views for the right reason. It has 1 million views because it's stupid, right? So I would heavily avoid brain rot content on like the whole fitness space, because if you're going like if you want to actually know how to do certain workouts and you want to like be inspired by people, then I would stick around to the educational and motivational content. So stick around for the educational if you want to know how to do workouts, know how to track your macros and know how to diet properly. And then motivational, just watch videos of people working out, and kind of in a sense get education from the motivation too. Because I feel like if you don't see someone doing it and you don't see someone working out, like just like a training montage, I feel like you're going to get a better understanding of how to actually use that kind of machine or do that kind of exercise, right? And that's helped me a lot over the years. Is watching like I remember I used to watch in my early stages of working out. I would watch like C-bombs videos like all the time, just like learning different movements of how they worked and like what kind of muscles they hit and like exactly like every kind of machine that would work for what I'm trying to achieve. And I truly think that it's so important to do this because a lot of people just, fly blind and they don't actually achieve what they want to achieve because they're not consuming the right content and they're not consuming the right things that are going to push them forward. So ask yourself these questions, and, determine what the obviously the current state of you is. Like what what like people would say like, oh, you know who you are, but determine who you actually are. What's your current body weight? What time do you wake up? Like, do you eat healthy? Are you consuming the right content? Ask yourself all these questions and learn more about yourself along the way. So next slide here, I'm going to explain. So this is pretty much summarizing the first state. I'm going to come back to this, not this slide, but I'm going to come back to the topic to tie the two together in a minute here. But let me go down here. So as you can see, this is also me here, hitting the same exact pose that I was in 2021, right? And this was March 7th of 2025. Okay. So as you can see, the next stage of this kind of PowerPoint is understanding the desired state. So this is what I like to say the two is. So the one is obviously the one is the current state of you, and the two is the desired state of you. So so imagine you're in your current state right now, obviously. And I feel like everybody, so you already saw the picture, so let me just move my camera back up here. So you know the current state of you, right? I want you to imagine what you would look like if you truly put your head down and truly locked in and what you were supposed to do, what kind of workouts you were supposed to do, what you were supposed to eat, how long you were supposed to work out for, how much cardio you're doing. Understand all of these things because you want to kind of start to craft your desired self. And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly what I'm teaching you guys to do right now. Obviously, a PowerPoint isn't going to teach you as much as like, you going out and doing it yourself. But what would your current body weight? What I'm like reading wrong. What would your body weight be? What do you want your ideal body weight to be? Because so let's just say you're 130 right now, 140, which is how much I weighed. I always knew that I wanted to be 200 pounds and ripped. So that's exactly who I became. What would your morning routine look like? Just imagine yourself in this stage, right? Imagine yourself in the desired state. What would be your morning routine? Would you wake up early, have that like Jason Statham aesthetic, be like waking up early, getting your eggs and bacon down before 5 a.m. and, driving your McLaren to the gym? Is that the kind of life you want to live? Like you ask yourself these kind of questions. So what would you be eating on a daily basis that would get you jacked as fuck? So ask yourself this question. This is probably the most important one. What would you be eating? Because what a lot of people make the mistake of is when they're first starting working out, they're like, oh my gosh, like, what do I eat? I don't know what to eat. I don't know. Just imagine what your desired state would eat. Imagine you were already personally developed in the max possible way. What would you eat? Because it's not that hard to understand what's good and what's bad, right? Because obviously you're gonna want to stay away from like bullshit, like chicken nuggets, like basically anything that you can microwave from the freezer. You probably want to stay away from, like breakfast sandwiches. Like a lot, I remember when I was growing up, I had a shit ton of those, and I always felt horrible, and I never knew why. But that's exactly why, because I had a fuck ton of those. That's off topic, but I'm trying to explain the contrast between why you should be eating why you should be eating good foods rather than bad foods. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, but I'm dirty bulking." What the fuck do you mean you're dirty bulking? You're just fat. Like if you're eating like Wendy's every day after the gym, oh, I'm dirty bulking, bro. Dude, you're just fucking fat. And just you just won't you're just coping and you just won't admit that you're fat. So what would your desired state be in order to get you jacked as fuck? Obviously, you need to figure that out and learn along the way. It took me a while to understand what I needed to actually eat. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of got inspired by my future self to start eating healthier because I knew as soon as I started eating healthier, I would be closer and closer and closer to that desired state. So, another question of this line is what kind of content would you consume and is it actually going to push you forward? So, kind of the same question as the last slide, but I shaped it a little bit differently. What kind of content would you consume and is it actually pushing you forward? So imagine you're already personally developed. You've already done it. What would you watch? What kind of stuff would you watch to motivate you to keep pushing harder? But that's a question that you got to ask yourself because that's not going to be the same as me. I see, in my opinion, I still watch CBum videos all the time. But that doesn't mean like I'm ever going to become that guy. I just watch his videos because I find them genuinely entertaining. Like I don't watch them to be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this guy until I become as big as him, and then as soon as I become as big as him, I'm gonna stop watching him because he's smaller than me. No, I'm never gonna become bigger than that dude ever. Let's just get that straight. Never gonna become bigger than that dude. And I honestly, like I just said, I watch his videos because they inspire me to not only be a better person and have a better physique, but since he just had a daughter, it's opened up a whole nother, kind of feeling when I watch his videos that just encourages me to, one day I'll have a father and, I'm me looking back on, his videos of how he treats his daughter. Inherently teaching me how I should be treating my daughter, right? So just a little bit of a different way of thinking. I kind of brought it away from fitness a little bit, but when you're in fitness, I don't want you guys to just be thinking about fitness. Like a lot of you guys are just like, oh, I want to be a bodybuilder. Like I want to be big. Like oh. The more you focus on your physique, the more you focus on hyper analyzing how you should look, the less progress you're gonna make. You don't know how many times I looked in the mirror a day because I literally thought like walking past the mirror in like high school, like in the bathroom, I thought my arms looked small and I'm just like, damn it, like fuck. Like now the day is ruined, right? But what you guys need to understand is you need to be hyper focused on the journey, not so much the progress. Because obviously you should be focused on the progress a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't be hyper focused on like, okay, what is the amount of progress I can make in one day? Like, how much muscle can I gain in a month? That's not what that's not what you should be thinking. What you should be thinking is how many meals am I going to get in today? What time am I going to go to the gym today? What am I hitting? What's the intensity going to be like? Improve upon the inputs, and the results will speak for themselves. If you truly stay disciplined in what you're trying to do, then it'll all come into play. But that's enough for this slide. Let's go to the next one. So obviously I'm not going to I'm going to put my camera down here. I'm not going to make this a macros lesson because none of us want to hear that. And I don't want to talk about it because everybody knows what macros are, right? You track what you eat in every meal. You put it in a container. If you do that, I personally just make a big ass bowl of beef or turkey and then a big ass bowl of rice. And every time I want to eat, I just measure it out because I'm not so focused on like how much I'm eating. To be honest with you, until prep starts, I'm really not too focused on like, okay, I have to get this exact number of food. I still weigh it just to keep track, but I'm not so much like worried about like if I'm eating like if I want to have 250 grams of rice and it goes to 251 on accident, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to take that one grain of rice out. No, what you should be doing is understanding the difference between bullshit food and good food. And you'd think a lot of people know the difference of that, but a lot of people don't, surprisingly. So, like I said, I'm not going to make this a macros lesson because none of y'all want to hear that. But eating shitty foods equals looking shitty. So if you eat McDonald's every day, you eat Wendy's every day, you just honestly, you have like those devour pizza meals, you're going to look shitty. And that's no surprise. Like you literally read the packaging and you can literally tell based off of that you're going to feel like shit. So eating clean food, good clean food, plus having discipline, sectioning out what times you're going to eat, how much you're going to eat, and honestly, that will set you up. That will set you up for life, dude. Because once you know how to section off and genuinely have structure to your meal plan, that builds you into a person that's going to have structure about everything else. Because I now structure my meals, I have so much of an easier time structuring other things in my life, structuring my workout programs, structuring my client list, and just shit like that. So I'm not telling you that you need to track every single macro that you come across, but it is important to keep track of what you're eating. So not so much numbers wise, but keep your meals sectioned off and keep track of actually how much you're eating so you can know by the end of the day and how much calories you consumed a day. So, like I said, I'm not going to make a macros lesson because that's boring as fuck. It's boring as fuck, so no one wants to hear it. So, next lesson is the mirror image mastery. So, what exactly is the mirror image mastery? So, it kind of plays in with the 1 and 2 states, right? So, like I explained in the slide, there's a version of you that has already achieved everything that you currently desire. So, in other words, there's a version of you that's already did everything that he said he was going to do. He's already, making the amount of money that he wants. He's already has the physique that, he wants. There's a version of you that has already done every single one of these things. You're just behind. And which is fine because you're obviously still living in the current state. And technically the can I just collect myself for a minute? The desire you're living in your holy shit, man. Let me just I keep like running over my words. Okay, let's get back to the basics. You're in your current state right now, right? So technically your desired state doesn't exist. It's just in your mind, right? But you know you can become that person. So in a sense, in your mind, he does exist. But in the physical, he doesn't. But the whole thought process of the version of you, there is a version of you that already exists that achieved everything. That is true because there is a version of you that could have started way earlier and achieved so much more by this time. But instead, you're still in the same spot and you have made no moves. And I'm going to tell you why. So, like I said, version of you already achieved everything you currently desire. What is that position? These are the questions you need to be asking yourself. And this is relating not so much to fitness. This is mainly relating to your mind because I'm trying to train your brain to collectively understand what kind of physique that you can build. So what is that position? What kind of job do you want? What kind of school do you want to go to? What if you decide to go to school? Where do you want to live? Do you want to move? Do you want to move out of your parents' house? Do you want to move away? Into I don't know, a cabin in the woods. Where do you want to live? What kind of car do you want to drive? Do you want to drive a Honda Civic or do you want to drive a Ferrari SF90? Like, choose yourself. Choose your character in a sense because anybody is capable of doing anything. So ask yourself these questions and imagine yourself achieving those goals because you know damn well that once you ask yourself these questions, you'll have answers to them. And you know that each and every single answer that anybody who answers these questions, they know that that position and that living space and that car is all possible to get if they truly want it bad enough. So That is the mirror image mastery. Because, so I guess I didn't explain what this actually meant. So the mirror image mastery is also a term that I came up with. So I want you to imagine yourself. You look in the mirror, right? You may look the same. Obviously, it's your reflection, so you're going to look the exact same. And you may look the exact same in your um, mirror, right? Like I just posted a reel the other day about how like it was me like last year having terrible habits. I slept in late, I went to bed late. I look the same. I have the same haircut. Honestly, I look like I'm the same size too. Obviously, I'm not, but I look like I'm the same size, right? I look the same, but what matters is I change what's up here. That's the difference. So that's the difference when I say the mirror image mastery. Because I want you to imagine yourself. You're looking uh, in a reflection of you, but you're seeing the better version of you. See, the current you is the one that actually exists within the world, but the one you're looking at within the mirror is the desired you. So just think about that. Obviously, that's not going to make a lot of sense to most people, but the more you think about it, the easier it gets to understand. So, okay, so mirror image mastery continued. So let me move my camera down here. So I'm gonna kind of lead off these slides a little bit just to get you like I'm gonna lead them and then because I think I put my heart and soul into this slideshow. So I'm gonna lead them and then I'm gonna explain further what I'm talking about. So like I said, let me further explain the mirror image mastery. So the desired version of you is counting on the current version of you to make the desired version of reality. Read that again. So like I kept saying, the desired version of you doesn't actually exist. It's not actually a person yet. You have to decide when you actually want to become that person, and then take the necessary steps to make yourself into that person, right? So that is the question you have to ask yourself. How are you going to become that person? And in a sense, when I say the desired version of you is waiting for you to make the decision to become that person, that is the way you need to think. Obviously, is that a correct and true statement? No, it doesn't. The desired you doesn't actually exist in the world. There's not another you that's doing better. There's not an identical shape, identical name, identical person that is doing better than you. No, it's you. It's you, and you need to decide whether you want to stay the same or get better. That's what I mean by this. The better version of you is waiting for the current you to make the change. So make the goddamn change. Let me read this. Let me read this part down here. Understand that the version of you now and the version of you that you want to be isn't that far apart. It takes one decision, bro. It takes one decision to completely change your life. Why do you think, anybody who knows me personally, why do you think that my Instagram went from like literally zero posts and no profile picture to a full on personal brand that gets roughly 80,000 views a month, which isn't that crazy right now, but gets roughly 80,000 views a month because I decided that I wanted to be a different person. I decided that I wanted to be the desired version of me. I knew that I could be better. I knew that I could grow a personal brand. So that's exactly what I did. You guys need to understand that it's not that hard. It doesn't matter how many books you read, it doesn't matter how many videos you watch, it doesn't matter how many times mentors scammed you. Thankfully, I've never had that happen, but I'm making an example because I've heard it from so many people, and I'm not going to make that video. I'm not going to make this video about mentorship scamming because I've never experienced it, but I don't even know why I mentioned that. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how many times that you listen to somebody. What matters is the implementation. The implementation matters. So if you see something and you see someone posting content and you want to do the same thing and you follow them for that reason, you better fucking post and put yourself out there because If you're just consuming content and you're not actually taking action, then what's the point of watching the content? Because I know damn well some of the content that I watch isn't always entertaining. Like my mentor, he's not always that entertaining, but he speaks to my soul. It's almost like the video is sometimes made for me, that it relates to me so much. So so like I said, are my videos ever gonna be like, are some of them gonna be super not entertaining? Yeah, but those are usually the ones where I put my heart and soul into and the most value into. Like the ones that I make super entertaining are never gonna be the ones that you should watch when you're in your lowest point, right? So let's go to the next slide here. So this is the final slide, I think. Yeah, this is the final slide. So this is the most important part of the slide. This is the most important part because it ties everything together. The final mind game. So you have the mindset, you have a nutrition goal of you have a goal to section out your meals, like I just said. The final mind game is the training because it's easily done wrong. And I can't stress this enough because you don't know how many people I see in the gym every day. I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't know how many people I see. I genuinely look at them like, what the fuck is that even? You're not even doing anything, right? And obviously, I don't like to judge because everyone has their own little, whoop-de-doo workouts, right? But are you actually training with intensity and drive? Do you have an unstructured routine and you just walk around aimlessly from machine to machine? I only say this because I used to do this. I used to have an extremely unorganized routine and I would just walk around aimlessly from machine to machine. That's exactly why I said this. Because I'm trying to relate me to you. I know that damn well that you have the person, the viewer has watched this. I know you guys have seen this. Like you either done it or you've seen somebody else do it. Just, oh, I don't know where to go. I don't know what muscle to hit. And they're just walking around aimlessly. So do you have a structured workout program that has the appropriate machine you want, and like how to do the exercise, the exact machine you're supposed to go to, and the exact amount of reps and the exact amount of sets? If you don't have that, you're gonna have a super unorganized workout. Even me to this day, I have a structured plan. I mean, I make it for myself in a notebook. I don't carry it around. I just take a picture of my phone and upload it to my notes on my phone. But that's just it. It's super, in my opinion, that kind of method is unorganized, but it's organized for me because it's in my notes app, and all I got to do is open up my notes app and search up a certain muscle group, and it comes right up. So that's the system that I use that works for me. Is that going to work for you? Maybe not. It might, but you need to find something that works for you. Find a structured plan that works for your goals. So another thing is, you're not just going to the gym. You're not just going to the gym to work out. You're not just going to the gym to move this machinery up and down, up and down. You need to have a certain fire within your heart that is telling you to get better and better each and every single day. Words can't describe how lonely, how insignificant I felt when I first went to the gym when I first went to the gym for the first time. Words can't describe how lonely, how insignificant, how dumb I felt because I was so small. But I had that drive. I had that bodybuilding drive because I knew the person that I wanted to be. I knew the person that I knew I was capable of becoming. So I went every single day, regardless of how I looked. And I knew that if I did this long enough, it would pay off. And I did exactly that. Obviously, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be. But I am heading in the right direction because I made this promise to myself that I need to get better every single solitary day. And that is exactly how you develop the bodybuilder mindset to make your training style and mindset unbreakable. I literally underlined this shit. Develop a training style that is unbreakable. Develop a mindset unbreakable. Develop habits that are unbreakable. Develop a physique that is unbreakable. You know you can do all this. I didn't need to explain any of this to you, but now you know what you're capable of becoming. Obviously, is this the best PowerPoint that anyone's ever seen? No. And I'm looking at a lot of the PowerPoint, and I wish that I would have changed it before hitting record. But I'm not the most perfect individual ever. I am explaining it to you exactly how I thought and exactly how I became the person that I wanted to become through my physique and through fitness and how I built a training style that was unbreakable for me. So I hope this helps. I don't know how many people are going to watch this. I don't really care because I know that a select few will watch it and a select few will gain something from it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There's obviously going to be a lot more of these coming out. Um, some will be mindset related, and some of them will be fitness related. But I extremely enjoy filming these. So you guys have to let me know what you guys want to see. I already have a list of things that I want to film for Loom, and mainly um, how to develop different training styles, like how to develop a workout routine. There's a slew of ideas that I have, but without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys in the next one.